Compare a box plot to the dot plot and histogram of this data. So with all these numbers, we're going to have to create a box plot, a dot plot, and a histogram and compare the shapes and sizes of each of those graphs in relation to the data. So before we go ahead and make a box plot first, like a box and whisker plot, we're first going to have to arrange these numbers from smallest to largest, because that's going to help us find out the 5-number summary, because that's what a box plot requires. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's go ahead and find the lowest number, which will be a 3. So a 3 occurs, looks like it only occurs twice. So 3, 3, and then there's a 5 that occurs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Whoops. 1, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we've got a 6 that occurs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. There's no 7, so it goes straight to 8, and there's 2 of them. There's 2 9s. There's also 2 10s. There's only 1 12. There's 3 13s, and there's a 14, and there's no other numbers left over. So that's from smallest to largest. So now we can start trying to figure out the 5-number summary, which is the smallest number, the largest number, the median, so that's the middle number, and then the first and third quartiles. The way we're going to do this is by drawing boxes around our data, right? The boxes are the quickest way, I think, as opposed to using all the formulas, because in this type of question, it's not really, I wouldn't be assessing on your ability to use the formulas, because it's not explicitly asking for that. So let's go ahead, I'll change my pen to black, and we'll go ahead and just count how many numbers we got in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So we're going to try and find the middle number first. To find the middle number, I normally just go and take one off. So that's what, or 26, right? Half that, that's 13. So 13, that's going to give me the first half of my data. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've now encapsulated the first half of my data. That means the last half of my data will be also 13 numbers. So going back from the start or from the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There we go. I've now encapsulated or circled the last or the top half of my data, which automatically, because we have an odd number of scores, we've automatically identified Q2, which is our middle number. That's perfect. All right, so let's now go ahead and identify Q4. That's just the biggest number. Q0, that's just the smallest number. And Q1 and 3 should be around the middle. I reckon it's probably about here, in the middle of this data. So seeing as we've got 13 numbers here, right? 13 numbers, it should just be the middle. So if you've got 13 numbers here, take one off, that's 12. And then if you just go 12 divided by 2 is 6, that means there should be 6 numbers on either side. With the 6 plus the other 6, that's 12, and then the 13th number in the middle. So let's go ahead and do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be this bottom quadrant or quartile, and it would be right here in the middle of the lower and upper of the lower quartile. So let's just say that's the middle there. That would be Q1. The same thing applies for Q3. You just go ahead and find the middle number, So the median of the upper half, you could say, and I reckon it's probably that one there. No, it won't be. It'll be this one here because that means that there are 6 numbers on either side of this number. So it's got to be the first 10. So Q3. Excellent. We've now identified the 5-number summary. Let's go ahead and set up with a box and whisker plot. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up my axes, like the bottom line where my box plot will sit upon. So we need to identify the smallest value, which is 3, and the largest value, which is 14. Setting up, we'll go starting at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Excellent. Let's go ahead and put some little lines in here. And write the numbers in. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So remember, you're just writing each number that occurred once, starting from 3 to 14. Sorry, even the numbers that didn't occur at all. So just going from the smallest number in order, going up to the largest number. So notice I'm still including the 4, although there wasn't actually a 4 at all. And there also wasn't a 7. And there also wasn't an 11, but I'm still writing them all in there. Alright, I've now set up my axis. I'm now going to draw my box and whisker plot, starting with the box. I'll use blue for this. So the box is drawn by identifying Q1, that'll be the left part of the box, and Q3, that'll be the right part of the box. So Q1 was 5. We need to go to 5 and draw a line. Now the height of that line, excuse me, I'm going to draw that with straight edge. The height of the line, right, doesn't matter. You choose. Does not matter at all. As long as it looks like a box. So you'll see it form in a second. So we've drawn Q1. Q3 was at 10. So I'll draw another line at Q10. And then I'll connect both of those lines up as if it were a box. Q2, which is our middle number, we'll put that inside our box as a separate line. So 6, go ahead and draw that in. There's our line at 6. We're going to draw now the edges of our whiskers. The edges of our whiskers are 3 and 14. Let's go ahead and put that in there. So our edge of my whisker is at 3, and the other edge of my whisker is at 14. Connect the edge of your whiskers with the actual whiskers, and you have a box and whisker plot. We're now going to compare this to a dot plot. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll remove this up to the top, right here. And I'll go ahead and copy the axis down the bottom, and I'll go ahead and use it again. I'll use it right here. That's now going to set me up for my dot plot. Now remember, a dot plot is going to be showing you the frequency or how many times each number occurred. A box and whisker plot does not show you that. It shows you the spread of the numbers, including the first quartile, the middle number, and the third quartile. But a dot plot is going to show you how many times each number occurred. So it's quite a different graph. Let's go ahead and do that. And remember, when we do dot plots, the size of the bar, or the size of the number of dots, represents how many numbers actually occurred, how many times that 3 occurred. So let's go ahead and have a look. How many times did 3 occur? Only twice. So we put 3 dots. Now, how do I know how to do, oh, sorry, I said 3 dots, I mean 2 dots for 3. So I chose the intersections of the lines on my template here as the positions to do the dots, okay? That's the decision that I made. All right, so now with 4, how many times did 4 occur? There were no 4s. See, it went from 3 to 5, so you ignore that and go to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I need 9 dots for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many times did 6 occur? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many 7s? No 7s. It went straight to 8. And there are 2 of 8s. How many 9s? There are 2 9s. There are 2 10s. 1 12. 3 13s. And 1 14. That there is a dot plot. Nothing else. So let's go ahead and just shift our dot plot up a little bit for a bit of an easier comparison. So what I've done now is I've aligned the axes. See how our axes are completely in line. So now we can make for a really nice comparison here. And that's what I'd expect you to be able to do. So have your dot plot completely in line with your box and whisker plots axes. All right, can you see that on our dot plot, the area where most of the data is skewed, or not skewed, but I guess squished into this area right here, where you have the most number of scores, lies in between the first quartile and the median. That's me comparing and describing the similarities of this box and whisker plot to this dot plot. So I'll say it again, most of the data, or where you get the highest points on your dot plot, are located between the first quartile and the median on your box and whisker plot. Let's now go ahead and draw our histogram. The histogram, well, that is a type of bar graph, but the bars are connected together. Let's go ahead and draw that. Now I need a bit more space. So what I'll do is I'll move my dot plot to the left. Give me a moment. And I'll move my box plot to the right. All right, that's moved to the right. I'll draw now my histogram about here. So what's going to be different is if I go ahead and copy that axis, I'll show you there's a bit of a difference with a box plot. With a histogram. Now I've gone ahead and pasted this in, but what I need to do with a histogram is, because I'm going to be drawing kind of like bars, these numbers here need to be in between the lines, because I'm going to be drawing bars that are going to be having to go like this. See how my bars are completely over my 3? My numbers need to be in between the bars themselves. So because I've got these nice lines on my template that I'm using, I'm going to go ahead and change my axis. I'm going to shift it over slightly so that the numbers are in between the lines. That's what I'm going to do. So if you've got graph paper at home, make sure that your lines and your numbers are in the middle. In fact, mine's not exactly perfect. I'm going to shove it over a little bit. That's a bit better there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing the bars. Okay, so, before I do that, I am going to set up a y-axis, because a histogram needs a y-axis. So let's go ahead and draw a y-axis. All right, so I'm going to use my black pen again and really have a look at how I'm going to do this. So if I have a look at my dot plot here, the number that occurs the most is 5, and it occurred how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I need to make sure that if I'm graphing the frequency of each of those bars, the top number needs to be at least 9, right? I think for to be accurate, I think we should go up to 10, and then we can go and write up in, say, 2. So like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space with this graph. I'm going to go down a little bit. down to here, right there. And I'm now going to set up with my line. So I'm going to go up in twos. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There we go. So I'll show you how I did that. So this will be 0, this will be 2, this will be 4, this will be 6. Oops, let's do that one again. This will be 6, this will be 8, and this will be 10. Let's go ahead and write them in. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now clearly this line is telling us the frequency or the number of times each number occurred. And so what I'll do is I want to show you there's a bit here that hasn't been connected. It's the x-axis with the y-axis. Because remember, I started with the same axis that I used with my dot plot and my box and whisker. I would just need to connect this up. So you always start with your first number halfway between two vertical lines. See how this 3 starts in the middle? So then you always need to connect this little extra gap up. So let's just connect it up. And that's going to allow you to draw a bar from the y-axis itself. So there won't be any gaps in between. Your bar will literally come out from the y-axis and go down. So let's now start drawing our bars. I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use green. All right, so how many times did 3 occur? Well, 3 occurred twice. So notice it's going to be very similar looking to a dot plot, except we don't have dots, we have bars. So 3 occurred twice. Let's go ahead and draw in the bar for 3. All right, so you can go ahead and shade it in. Doesn't have to be perfect. How many times did 4 occur? Well, none. How many times did 5 occur? Well, it occurred 5 times. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a bar for 9 times. Starting from 5, go up to 9. Now I can see that it's a little bit shifted across here. It's not exactly on the 5. I'm going to go ahead and move it. I don't think, oh, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Now it needs to go from, see, I've made a mistake now. Remember, folks, this line needs to be on the actual line of the grid paper you're using. See how I went up from 5? That's a mistake. You only do that with a dot plot. So I would actually need to shift this here. And then I do the exact same line on the other side of the 5, on the line, remember, and then connect the top. And that's how you do a bar. So again, filling in the inside. Now our next data point is 6. How many times did 6 occur? Well, that occurred 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So go ahead and draw a bar. Now remember, your bars are connected now, so you can draw straight from this line so 6 occurred how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So from here, like that. Fill it in. All right, how many times did 7 occur? Well, it didn't occur at all. And 8 occurred twice, 9 occurred twice, and 10 occurred twice. So let's do that. Whoops, let's use the straight edge. 8 occurred, oh, that's not twice, that's 3 times. 8 occurred twice, 9 occurred twice, and 10 occurred twice. So fill them in. Now 11 didn't occur at all. 12 occurred once. So let's draw a bar of size 1. Fill that in. And 13 occurred 3 times, and 14 occurred once. So let's go ahead and finish that off. So 13 occurred 3 times. Now, 14, as you can see, I'll zoom in. We don't exactly have enough room on our axis to draw a bar. There's a bit of a half a gap left, so that's fine. You can just go ahead and extend that line. So that's exactly what I'll go ahead and do, and it normally pans out that way when I draw these histograms. I normally add that extra half on at the end. If you want to go ahead and set it up at the start, that's fine. Let's draw our last bar, and 14 occurred once. So let's go ahead and draw that in. And we'll fill in. And that there is our histogram. Notice that a histogram and a dot plot are very similar. The difference is that you can see the individual scores with a dot plot, whereas you cannot on a histogram. Histograms use connected bars. Now, histograms are good for using with continuous data because the bars are connected together. Dot plots, you can do that as well, but dot plots can also be used for discrete data. Now, let's go ahead and finish this question. You can also see, so let's compare, all right? So let's compare our box plot now to the histogram, because we compared our box plot already to the dot plot. Let's compare to the histogram. So, as you can see, just like the dot plot, most of the data, right, or the parts where there are highest data correspond with the first quartile and the median of the box and whisker plot. Okay, so I'll finish off with a summary sentence. The dot plot and the histogram spread out to the same extent as the box plot. See, they spread out as much as the box plot, right? And they have their highest parts right here and right here. They have their highest parts in between the first quartile and the median of the box plot. And that so happens to be the box plot's shortest section.